Hey, what's good, fam? It's Kyle Henderson of BamaInsider.com coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. We open up today's footage from Alabama's 10th practice with Bryce Young throwing the door. And you know what time it is. Before we get going, definitely hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. We appreciate you more than you know, fam. And away we go with highlights from Wednesday's footage. Nick Saban's press conference, which you can watch in its entirety right here on our YouTube channel. He opened up talking about what he wants to see this Saturday during Alabama's second scrimmage. Now, he talked about a lot of very important items. He talked about having the right intangibles to compete at this level. He talked about having accountability. He talked about learning and understanding the plays. And I think when you look at this quarterback room, the quarterback room definitely needs a leader, right? You look to last season, you look to the year before when the guys at that position had those qualities. So that's what Nick Saban wants to see from his quarterback room. He wants to see these guys be able to get onto the field and understand their responsibilities. I think when you look at a quarterback like Paul Tyson, who's currently the #2 guy. Now, this coming weekend, I think it's a big opportunity for him. I'm not even sure if he was 100% during this last scrimmage. So you look to a guy like Paul Tyson who has all the intangibles, who understands the system, who can show those leadership abilities and really has an opportunity to step up and demonstrate that when his name is called, he can make plays. He can put the ball where it needs to be. And I think that sooner or later, whenever Paul's time has come, he's going to stand up and showcase that he can lead this team. You look at a player like Javon Baker. Nick Saban talked about Javon Baker today, said that he's been making some very good strides, and he's one of those receivers along with Xavier Williams. I know a lot of people keep talking about X, wondering, when we're going to see more of him. Look, Xavier Williams and Javon Baker, those guys definitely had first-team reps with Alabama this last Friday, along with Slade Bolden and Trayshawn Holden. Those are the wide receivers right now in that first-team mix as John Mechie is out with an injury from last season. This is footage of Bill O'Brien, Alabama's new offensive coordinator. He has a lot of new weapons to work with. I'm really curious to see how he utilizes returning vets like Brian Robinson and also gets in the mix some of these younger guys. Javon Baker, maybe Christian Leary. We're going to have a photo of him here in a second. And other guys within this rotation, because I think overall, while this offense doesn't have a lot of experience, at least on the skill positions from last season, you still have plenty of playmakers, guys that are just waiting to get their opportunity and showcase what they can do when they get the football in hand. So I look to a guy like Javon Baker to continue to have a strong spring season going into the later part of this month. Have some footage right here of the wide receivers. There's #3, Xavier Williams, catching the football. I think sooner or later we're going to see him hauling a couple touchdowns. I just have a good feeling about him that he's coming around, and this will be a great time for him to really set himself apart during the springtime. And looking forward to more Xavier Williams. All right, this is Todd Watson. Now, he's been working with Alabama's tight ends and special teams. And as you know, with Jay Graham leaving, Nick Saban had to find a replacement. The replacement is in, and that's Drew Sabota. Now, Sabota is currently not coaching with the players on the field yet because he has to learn the system. So Todd Watson, who came over from Tennessee, is working with Alabama. And currently, as you see right here, he is working with that tight end unit. The tight ends led by Jaleel Billingsley. Very dangerous playmaker. And then also Cameron Latou. We heard that Cameron Latou had a very productive Friday scrimmage. Now, that was last week. So going into this week, you want to see that these players continue to progress and showcase that they have improved from scrimmage 1 to scrimmage 2. Nick Saban also talked about that during his press conference. So Todd Watson right here leading this team. As you can see, there was Will Riker back there actually punting. That was cool. But Jaleel Billingsley and company are being coached up by Todd Watson, and Nick Saban said that he's very comfortable right now with that coaching decision as we get into these later months. #21 right here, that is Jacquez Robinson. He's working with Alabama's second team. I think we'll definitely see more of him this coming season. As you know, Nick Saban works with that secondary defensive-minded coach, calls himself a grad assistant. I think that's hilarious, but it's true. He's right behind Jay Valai. You also have #22 right here. That is Ronald Williams. Last year, as you remember, Ronald Williams hurt his arm, so we didn't see a lot of him. But this year, he could be maybe a guy that finds himself onto the field more, maybe at that corner position right there to the left, #5. That is Jalen Armour Davis, a guy that has been working with Alabama's first team at that corner position. But I think with Kool-Aid, JaQuincy McKinstry, Ronald Williams, even Kyrie Jackson coming in, Clearly, Alabama has a ton of depth at that corner position. I think it's about just figuring out who can be that guy in critical situations and who can step up when their name is called on the defensive side of the football. Because as we've talked about several times, the secondary is absolutely loaded with so much talent. Nick Saban talked about what he wants to see from Jordan Battle. But when I look to the defensive side, especially that secondary, I think the leadership might fall right here on Josh Jobe. Josh Jobe, he's been at Alabama for quite some time, knows the system in and out, and as you know, has plenty of big play potential. We got footage right here of Pete Golding, Alabama's defensive coordinator. Obviously, a lot of eyes are going to be on Pete Golding. I mean, people's standards for Alabama defense are, bar none. You have to be perfect, and that's, I think, what people expect from Alabama's defense, being that Nick Saban is a defensive guy. But Pete Golding has a lot of surrounding talent this year, from the first team to the second team. And when you look at a player, for example, like Brian Branch right here, right, played with the second team last year as that star, stepped up when Malachi Moore went out with the injury. Brian Branch, very capable to be a starter. Now, I think that as Brian Branch's career continues, I mean, you could even see him at a potential safety position. I think he's that talented. So Malachi Moore will certainly be back after he's, cleared by Alabama. But my point is the depth is really phenomenal at Alabama. And yeah, you could say that every single season, but I think specifically on defense this particular year, you're going to be really impressed with the defensive side and just the depth that Alabama can go. 1, 2, I think all those guys within that group are going to be very talented, and really looking forward to seeing how Alabama progresses their defense in 2021. We have some footage right here. This is Tommy Brown, number 75. He's been playing right guard from what we gather with the first team. We're going to go to the photos next, and then we're going to play the B-roll as it came in. Definitely hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe, fam. We appreciate you being here. In this particular photo, you got Josh Jobe, one of Alabama's returning players inside the secondary. As we've talked about several times, that secondary is so experienced returning. Josh Jobe, now a veteran here at Alabama, will be the corner. Still trying to figure out who the second corner is going to be on the opposite side of him. Right now, Jalen Armour Davis repping at that position. Photo of Nick Saban right here. Nick Saban looks great, 69 years old, completely locked in, dialed in. He has to be fired up about this defense coming back. He's a defensive-minded coach, and with all the experience that Alabama is returning on the defensive side of the ball, he's got to be a little bit elated going into A-Day, which will be on April 17th at beautiful Bryant-Denny Stadium. Slade Bolden pictured right here. From the looks of it, looks like he's at the slot position. As we've talked about, he's repping with the first team at that slot position. To the outside, it looks like Trayshawn Holden. We know that Holden has been getting some first-team looks right now with John Mechie out. Ronald Williams looks like trying to wrap up Bryce Young. These are some ball stripping drills that they do, so it's not an actual in-action type photo. Really just a drill for the defensive player to try to work on the strip and the offensive player to hold on to the football. Obviously, in game situation, it's important to hang on to the football when the defense is swarming you. Shane Lee right here. Nobody looks better than Shane Lee in pads, right? From what we gather, Shane Lee right now working with the second team defense at the inside linebacker position. I think this is the best photo of the day right here. Alabama's early enrollee Jacquez McKinstry out of Pinson Valley, working with the second team at that corner spot. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of Kool-Aid this coming season. When you talk about that corner position, I think there's a position battle right now. Jalen Armour Davis, Jacquez, and then you got Kyrie Jackson coming in later on in the summertime. Great photo right here. This is Christian Leary, another early enrollee. Again, as I've talked about several times, another guy who is certainly making the most of his spring football opportunities. Alabama, of course, loaded at that wide receiver position, but we still need to figure out which wide receivers are going to step up when the lights come on. Well, I hope you enjoyed the footage and the photos. Next up, I'm going to play the B-roll as it came in so you can get the sights and sounds of what it's like to be at Alabama's practice. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Kyle Henderson of BamaInsider.com.
6-inch wood stepping, freaking vertical. Right here, don't get reach. So go. Boom. Good. Nice job right there. Love it. Flip it up, flip it up, flip it up. Okay, it's a wide 9, Robbie. Wide 9.
Get away, cut and go! Get upfield, make the cut and go! There, come on, don't be a madman. Right,
go, bring your hips. Go. Now we're working the top of the curve. Negative angle, just bump the quarterback.
on to the other side. Flip it. All right.
I'll try to come to you. Linebacker way. Did you ever share? Good ball. Linebacker way.
Back, left, run.
Hey, get up! Let's go. Hey, that's it. Right foot, pull that left elbow. Make sure you accelerate at the last guy. Next guy up. You're hitting him right at the end. Your leg and shoulder. Hit! Slow down. Set it up. What you got to do. If I hold the ball, you should be hit. And I'm pulling that elbow right there, right? Okay, so I'm going to sit there and work back.